see maybe later or maybe even now, let's see, many people come and they pet him on his head, some even kiss him. Don't do that. Somebody started to spread the news a few years ago that if you pet his head, it will bring luck and happiness into your life. But we need to explain this to our dogs because they don't know. They pass by, they raise the leg, they pee on him, you know how dogs do. Then the tourists come, they wipe it up, then the next dogs come. Literally, I saw people kissing it already, so it's disgusting. Okay, so if you should get bored around lunchtime, just stay here on the corner, you will see how many tourists come. Let's continue to the next corner. There is also one thing, it's really burglars, because you know in Bratislava all the old town kids, we know each other. So you went to the same kindergarten, or you went to the same ski club, or you shared a girlfriend sometimes later. And I know this guy, and he's a very tricky person. He's 5 times in 4 years, always forward, always he gets the money from the insurance. I have no proof, it's just the feeling that we have. But let me explain you this statue on the next corner, because this was a living. My grandmother, she knew him personally. He only died 1963, so it's not so long ago. But look how he is dressed. He's dressed like from the 18th century. Ignazio Lamar was called by all the local people here the schöne Nazi. Schön in German means the beautiful, and Nazi not because he was a Nazi, but Nazi is like Ignazio said nicer. Why was he dressed like this all the time? Because he was crazy. He was supposed to get married, but his fiancée didn't show up. She let him stay in front of the church, and instead of be happy that he was no mother-in-law and living for happy forever, he was quite sad about this. So he always wore his wedding dress, and he went here to the old town, and he was giving compliments to the ladies in 3 languages, as it's usual in Bratislava, like what beautiful eyes you have, and I like your haircut. A charmeur. The women, they enjoyed it. If he would do it today, they will probably scream sexual harassment, call the police, there is a maniac on the street. So we have here his statue to remind us on the good manners section. And come with me here in the middle of the square. So robes, some kind of fabric, something in the length, nets, whatever. They needed to always to adjust if they use the same metrics as we, so that people get what they pay for. And this what looks like a knife. It reminds me now of my mother-in-law as she's here, but actually this is the symbol that Bratislava was allowed to sell raw meat. Not every city could do so in medieval times because of storages. If you have like spoiled meat, could be some disease. So if you had a symbol like this, then it was that you had the permission from the king, and Bratislava had. And now come with me inside here. These days we have here a museum, and this was always my favorite courtyard. I took a shortcut here many times, and I imagined always how I come on the white horse, the princess waiting for me on the balcony, fresh after the shower. So really a romantic place here. And I would say let's come here together next to the car, so you have the view direction to the tower, because here it's nice and quiet. And I would like to explain you my path and maybe some few words about Bratislava. So if you come here, this would be here our area, and the other groups can pass by, or so we are not staying in their way. So about the hat, I already received the compliments today. This is really a typical traditional Slovakian hat. It cannot get more traditional. We call it Goralski klobuk. But what are the shells doing on it? Because we don't even have access to the sea. It's like this. The explanation goes 1,000 years back in history, as we have been making money by selling wood to the Balticum shore. Our men, they have cut trees, they have built rafts out of it, and they rafted up to the north where they sold the wood, and for the money they bought salt, or they kept cash money, and they walked back again to the children and to the wives, again cut trees, again the next round, and like this all life long. If they wanted to keep track how often did I make a business trip like this, they needed to find a solution, because in those days was no iPad, no Excel, not even paper and a pen. So they agreed that always when they reach the shore, they take a shell from the sea and attach it to the head. and a companion, and you reft it together. On the first sight, you could see, okay, this is an experienced man, or he just started. So this was really like communication. This is the explanation for the children at home and for the wife. Among us men, it's how many girlfriends they had on the way. Huh? And there is also a third explanation which says we have been canvas producers. And these canvas fabrics we sold in bigger and bigger circles until our men came to Mid-East. And on Mid-East, shell was the currency. Even today there are some tribes in Papua New Guinea, they use shells as currency, as dollar, pound or euro. So if you wanted to show you are rich, then you put some shells on your head. Some families even have furniture full with shells, well, not these days, but medieval times, just to show they have money. Today you try to hide it, otherwise the tax office will knock on your door, they want a piece of cake. Especially now, our government, they want a big piece of cake. They introduced now a transaction tax. That means if I pay something with my card, or I take money from the ATM, they take 0.8% away, already from taxed money. So only we have it, the Hungarian and Venezuela, nobody else. About Slovakia, we are a small country. We are only 5.5 million inhabitants, so a mid-sized Chinese village, more or less, but we are number one in car production. We produce in this small country more than 1 million cars every year, so it's like Detroit of Europe. Directly here in Bratislava, we produce Volkswagen Touareg, Porsche Cayenne, Bentley Bentayga, and Audi Q7. If you drive one of these, thank you very much, because those taxes stay here. And if it sounds like it's 4 different cars, it's an illusion. It's the same car. They come from the same assembly line. Monday, Volkswagen, Tuesday, Porsche. It's the same man, same screws, it's the same wires inside. Only different wrapping and a different price tag. Generally the same. In the mid-Slovakia, we have Citroën, Peugeot, Jaguar, Land Rover, and Kia. And between our old mafia government until 2020 and the new old mafia government, because we are elected them back after 3 years, we had a very schizophrenic, really strange people governing the country. But they did one good thing. They signed a contract with Volvo. And Volvo built a new big factory for 40,000 people, which we don't have. But Xi Jinping was already here to take a look. Maybe he will send us some workers. They want to build 500,000 electric cars every year, additionally to the 1 million. That means these days every 7th citizen, it's in car industry. Within 2 years, every 5th citizen will be in car industry. We are not a big country. It's about 450 kilometers long, 100 kilometers wide from north to south, more or less. A continuous highway between 2 biggest cities, Bratislava and Košice, which is 370 kilometers, we still don't have. If you want to be the fastest way to east of Slovakia, you take the highway to Budapest and then go from Budapest. This is the corruption. Every government does the same. It's never done. But what we have nice, and this I would like to share with you, we have beautiful folkloric music. And I would like to play 2 songs for you. Not on Primate Square, and this palace on your right side, we call the Primate's Palace. Come to me because we will go on the left side out. Primus comes from the Latin language. Primo, the number 1. In this case, this should be the number 1 of the religion. If you look above the roof, in the middle there is a black something on top. It looks like a fire alarm or like a Wi-Fi antenna, but actually that is a bishop's head. And underneath, that's not a bra, that's Stephen's crown. This is how the bishop wanted to show that he's more than the king. It was a fight since always, who has more power, king or the bishop. For me it was important, in the first floor where you see the balcony, 1976, my parents got married. In those days, it was not possible to get married in the church. That would not be accepted. So they said yes here. But for you, more important to know, 1805, Napoleon, his diplomats, they signed here the so-called Treaty of Presport. That was after the big battle by Austerlitz, the battle of three armies. It was the French against the Russian and Austrian. They signed the peace documents here. Napoleon didn't come, he stayed in Vienna. He was eating Sachertorte, which insulted us a lot because that was just to be polite. We've been the capital in those days of Hungarian kingdom. Today there is partially a museum and partially it's also a part of like the city government. And just in your back, this is the main building of the city government, like the new town hall, we could say. In this design, all Bratislava would end up if we wouldn't have the Velvet Revolution 1989. So this is what they've been knocking down, the old nice buildings.
This is city government.
So when now I take you around the corner, we will like leave this area here, go to the square of Slovak National Uprising, where the real life starts, because this here is kind of Disneyland. Tourists, many people moved out from here because it can get quite loud, especially from Thursday to Sunday. And it's 15 million years old. In the old town here we found mammoth bones, Stone Age village, but where it starts to be really interesting, it's the time of the Celts. The Celts, they settled down here and they have built an oppidum in size of 40 soccer fields. Quite a big area, 2,500 years ago. That was 500 BC already. But not the size was important, but here was a crossing of two ancient business paths. The so-called Amber path from Balticum coast all the way to Aquileia, close to Venice. And the second one was the Trans-Danubian business path, which copied the river Danube. And now the scientists are discussing since ages. Yes, but what was first? Was here first the crossing, already some prehistoric crossing, and the people started then to live around the crossing? Or was here already a village, and this is why the businessmen, they decided let's do the crossing because it's convenient for us as well. So one from Vladimir Vičiar, the other one was from Czech Václav Klaus. Both of them wanted to become prime minister, but how you do it if you have only one country? They didn't do elections. They started to spread such a bad mood among the people of Czechoslovakia, and one day they have met by Vila Tugendhat in Czech Republic, and they decided, only these two men, from 1st of January 1993, we get apart. And because we've been, used to like 40 years of communism and not to say nothing, we just accepted. So 31 years ago, Czechs and Slovaks fell apart with no elections about it or no referendum, no nothing. It was just a really good decision of two politicians. So in my back again, the Slovak National Theatre, built by two Austrian architects in the 1860s. It was built within 2 years. Very fast building. They have been specializing in theater buildings. They just copied paste. They had exactly the system how to do it very fast. Just to compare, the new theater building, which is a few hundred meters away, 100 years later we have built 25 years during the communist era. So they knew what they did exactly. Unfortunately,